Good evening. Thank you for joining us. My name is Ryan Fagan. I'm a project manager with the City of Tucson Department of Transportation and Mobility. We'll get started in just a minute or two here. If you want to turn on captions or subtitles, there are instructions on the screen for doing so right now. So we'll just wait a minute for people to join us and to get those turned on. Looks like we've got a couple more people joining us, so we'll wait just a minute or two and then we'll get started. Just want to make sure we catch any stragglers. All right, I think we can get started. Thank you all again. Again, my name is Ryan Fagan. I'm a project manager with the City of Tucson Department of Transportation and Mobility, and we're here to talk about the Roger Road Pedestrian Safety and Walkability Project. So let's get started. So just a little background on this project. This project kind of had its origins in some work done by the Living Streets Alliance, and they worked with neighbors in the area on a walkability assessment. That was turned into a project that was in 2015 Pima County bond election. That election was a package of a whole bunch of different projects that ended up not passing. And in 2018, the City of Tucson put together a bond package that included parks improvements and other improvements, and that was approved. So just a quick overview of that program. This was Proposition 407, also known as Tucson Delivers Parks and Connections. This was approved by City of Tucson voters in November of 2018. It includes over 50 bicycle and pedestrian focused projects, including 10 pedestrian safety and walkability improvement projects. So Roger is one of those 10 projects. So just a quick overview of this project. It runs from Romero Road to Oracle Road for a total of 1.5 miles. It'll include complete sidewalks and curb ramps all the way from on both sides of the street, all the way from Romero to Oracle. And it'll include 2 new enhanced push button crossings, and you can see a rendering of one of those there. In addition, it'll include complete street lighting along the corridor, as well as trees and other landscaping that'll provide some shade and beautification. And there will also be some public art that we're working with the community on now to get designed and included. So, So just a quick overview. We kicked off this project a little over a year ago, and fall of last year, we held a couple of meetings and did some engagement with the public. So we sent out notifications, we sent out emails, and we conducted 2 events. We did an open house at the LA Town Flowing Wells Community Center, and we did a pop-up park near Roger and Fairview. And that was to sort of help give an idea and sort of help people brainstorm like what this space could be. The area between Fairview and Tuttle is a real opportunity for us to do not just sidewalks and lighting, but also to really have some enhancements and make it almost like a park-like atmosphere. And in addition to those events, we did some intercept surveys, or rather Living Streets Alliance conducted intercept surveys with 57 people who were traveling along the corridor. And we also had surveys that we conducted at the events that we held, as well as online. So what we heard really is people, by and large, are very excited about the project. What we heard people want in this area is really what aligns with what it is that we're planning to build. So you can see there that the biggest thing people want to see sidewalks. We're going to have complete sidewalks both sides of the street. Street lighting. Originally the project actually wasn't necessarily going to include complete street lighting for the entire length. In response to the feedback we received, that we decided to add complete street lighting all the way down the corridor. In addition, you can see on the list on the right, we've got safer crossings, was the third most requested element. And other elements like accessibility as far as ADA, art, pedestrian crossing signs. We're able to fulfill most of these requests. There are some things such as repaving that are we're not able to include as part of this project. But as far as the improvements for pedestrian safety, walkability, we're pretty much doing our best to fulfill all of that. So just a little fun thing here. We've got some renderings that show before and after some of the areas along the corridor. So this is between Palm Grove and Fairview. This is the same area where we did the pop-up park. So this is what it looks like today. And this is the current plan for what it'll look like once construction is completed and once the plants have had a chance to grow and mature a little bit. So you've got not only the sidewalk, but you've got landscaping, you've got trees, you've got art, you've got lighting. And then here is near Pomona Road. And you can see here, this is one of the locations where we're planning to add a push button crossing. And these crossings are also planned to be elevated crossings for increased visibility and to get drivers to slow down a bit while they're driving down the roadway. So just a quick overview of the project schedule. We plan to finish the design around January of next year, which would put the start of construction a few months later in the spring of next year. And we would expect the project to be completed hopefully no later than the fall of next year. And the project website you can find by going to this link here. It's bit.ly/RogerRoad. And right now I'd like to actually switch over to showing the project plans. So we can actually go over like what's actually in the project. So if you've had a chance to look at the plans on the website, this is, I'm just going to be going over that very same thing. But starting here at Romero Road, we are making improvements to the crossings here. We're adding a crosswalk on the south leg and brand new ADA accessible curb ramps. We've got continuous sidewalk on both sides of the street. We've got landscaping on mainly on the north side of the street here. There is very little room on the south side, so we're really only able to fit in a sidewalk. Sorry about that. Really only able to fit in a sidewalk in some areas just due to space constraints. On the north side, we're able to include not only a sidewalk, but also some landscaping. And it's not shown on here, but we do have continuous lighting as well. So the next kind of thing of note here is just east of Pomona Road. We've got a new raised crosswalk, and this is also a push button crossing. So this will be a crossing where, you know, if you're waiting to cross and there are cars coming, you push a button, it turns on flashing lights for drivers, which encourages them to come to a stop and allow you to cross. So that's one of the two locations that's planned for. So on the north side of the road in that area as well, between Pomona and Flowing Wells, we've got this area you can see here on the north side of the road. It's going to have significant landscaping, lots of trees, lots of rainwater harvesting basins. We've got some benches as well. So we're trying to make it a little bit like a linear park, give people places to rest and some shade to help cool off. and just make it generally nicer to walk in that area. And then at Flowing Wells Road, you can see we're constructing new curb ramps as well to make the crossings, to improve the crossings, make them more accessible, and shorten the crossing distances as well. You can see some additional landscaping. Those little green circle things, those are trees. Some other shrubs and trees as well. I think we're nearly at the end here. So you can see we're at Tuttle Avenue right here. Just give me a second. I'll get over to the next part of the plans. So between Tuttle and Palm Grove, there's the other raised crosswalk that's also a push-button crossing. And then you can see between Tuttle and Fairview, we have another sort of linear park-like area. It's a little bit wider than the one between Pomona and Flowing Wells, and there's a lot of landscaping. There's some benches and other amenities. There's a seat wall. There's going to be some public art included. So, really trying to make this a really pleasant place to walk and take a break as well if you're so inclined. And then we're making some improvements to the intersection at Fairview as well. It's going to have high visibility crosswalks, improved ADA curb ramps, and better accessibility in all directions, including to the north where there's the Quick Mart there. And then continuing on, those are sort of the highlights. Beyond here, it's just more continuous sidewalks, some more landscaping as much as we're able to fit in. There's a lot of sort of technical constraints. There's utility lines and things that limit our ability to put in as many trees and other things as we would have liked. But we're really doing our best to really make it as lush as we can and provide as much shade as we possibly can. So almost to Oracle here. So that's really the highlights of the project. When we get to the question and answer period, I'm happy to answer any additional questions people may have and focus in on any areas that people want to know more about. The one last thing that I'd like to show you all is, so if you go to the project website, there is a link. Oh, here, I'll go to that. There is a link not only to a survey, it's really just like a comment card if you have any thoughts you want to share on the design as it's currently presented. We are taking those until December 10th. We also have an interactive map. So if you click on this here, this will bring up this map here. And this shows not only the major features of the project, so where the sidewalks are, where the crossings are, but also it gives you the ability to actually put down comments on the map. So if you have an idea about, there's a particular issue or opportunity that you want us to know about at a special location, say there's something at the location of Roger and Sue Avenue that you want to point out, you would go to this button down here, the add comment button, this big green one here, click on that, and that'll bring up on the right side, that'll bring up a little form where you will enter comments. It's not behaving right now. Let's give it a sec. I'll try reloading that. Here we go. So hopefully it'll run a little faster for you. There it is. It'll run a little faster for you when you're using it. But really what we're looking for is, if you have ideas, if you want to see there's something that's not part of the project that you'd like to see, if there's something you'd like us to know about as far as where people are walking, how people are driving, anything that you can put on a map and tell us what's going on there, or what you'd like to see. Please take the time to do so. So you can give us a comment. You can provide your name if you'd like to. You can even add a photo if you have one. If you're using it on your phone, that's a little bit easier than if you're on a computer. And then you can just click on the map to know where it is. So I would just click here. And then I just click report it, and that would add it to the map. And you can see what other people have reported as well. If you have the same idea and you see a comment there, feel free to add another point. What we're looking for is not only the ideas, but like how much interest there is in something. So if somebody says they want to see something, they want to see it, traffic calming or what have you at a particular location, and you agree, feel free to add your own point and let us know about that. So with that, I would open it up to questions at this point. So if anybody has any questions, if you are joining us on your computer, then you can type in questions and we'll read them out loud and answer them. If you're joining by phone, you can press #6 and that'll unmute you, and then you can ask the question.
Hi everyone, good evening. My name is Monica Landgrave Serrano, and I will be reading your questions to Ryan so that he can answer them.
And, sorry.
Ryan.
Sorry about that, Monica. I realize I neglected to introduce you. Thank you, Monica. Also, our engineering project manager for this project, Arturo Ledesma, is also here. So he's available as well if we have some engineering related questions or anything else that he may be able to help out with. So thank you, Arturo, for joining us, and I apologize for not mentioning you sooner.
Thank you, Ryan. So our first question is, what are the lane widths and will there be shade trees?
So the lane widths won't be changing. This project is pretty, other than the crossings for pedestrians, this project is pretty much staying back of curb, as we call it. So outside of the paved roadway. So, the sidewalks, landscaping, lighting. So we won't be making any modifications to the configuration of the roadway. And then as for shade trees, yes, wherever we're able to fit them, as I mentioned, there are some constraints with respect to just space constraints and utility lines, both above ground and underground. And then there are some restrictions on visibility as far as being able to make sure that you can see when you're pulling in and out of side roads and driveways and things. So as much as we're able to include shade trees, we are including them.
Great, thank you, Ryan. For our next question, Anonymous wants to know, will this be including those portions that are still outside the city limits?
Yes, so this goes from Romero to Oracle, and so some of the area on the north side of the roadway is outside of the Tucson city limits. It's in unincorporated Pima County. So this project will be including all of that. So it will be, even though some of it is outside of the city of Tucson limits, we will be completing the project on both sides of the street, all the way from Oracle to Romero.
Great. Our next question is the following. You've mentioned that paving is not part of the project, but it does not make sense to improve the sidewalk and leave the roads as it is today. Is there any way that the city can include that in your plans?
Thank you for that question. So just the nature of this project and the way that it's funded, unfortunately, we're not able to make paving improvements as part of this project. However, we do maintain a list of requests for repavings. That's something, Monica, if you can drop the TDOT concerns information in the chat, that would be helpful. So
Sure.
that if you submit a request for repaving along Roger, and I know there are some segments of Roger that haven't been paved in a while, that's something that we can add to the list. So right now, our primary funding source for repaving is pretty much filled up with projects already, but in the event that we have some money left over at the end, as we did with a previous program for repaving, we'll look at requests and do our best to add areas where there's need for repaving.
I'm going to add that as soon as I finish typing it, but for now, I'm going to go to the next question. There is little, if any, pedestrian traffic between Tuttle and Palm Grove. Why not locate the crossing at Palm Grove?
So when the intercept surveys were conducted along Roger, there was a significant amount of traffic, and actually the most requested locations for crossing improvements, at least mid-block, not at major streets like Flowing Wells, were actually Tuttle and Palm Grove, and just based on the site requirements at that location, the location in between the two made the most sense. So it's there are always constraints that limit exactly where we can place things, and in order to accommodate as many people as possible who wanted to see crossings at both of those locations, that's why the crossing is located between the two.
Thank you for your answer, Ryan. The next comment is from Miguel Hernandez. He says, "Great project. Can you add 1 or 2 more public art?"
Thank you. So we will be including at 2 locations. We'll be including a pretty large public art. We're in the process of working through the design with the local arts foundation on that, and the artist that was selected for that. But it's likely to be something aviation inspired. If you noticed in the drawings that I shared a little bit earlier, you could see a plane. So we'll have 2 of those, and those will each most likely be slightly different designs. That's what we have the budget for as far as public art. There will be other enhancements, especially between Tuttle and Fairview, where we've got things like a seat wall that has varying heights and other things that are sort of have artistic elements. They're not categorized as public art, but we're hoping that they'll sort of enhance the area and add beautification and also be functional as well.
Excellent. The next question is, will the walkability study be available for review?
So the walkability study that was done in 2014, I believe that is available from the Living Streets Alliance website. If you search Living Streets Alliance walkability studies, I don't know offhand exactly the URL for that, and I honestly, I'm not sure whether that's online or not. But that's something. Please feel free to reach out to me, and I can look that up and send you what I'm able to send you. Yeah.
Thank you, Ryan. Our next question is, will the old ditches be filled in?
Is that referring to, I think that's referring to the irrigation district ditches. That I'm not sure about. Arturo, do you happen to know the answer to that?
Well, I guess there are additional roadside. There's a small little roadside ditch just east of flowing wells on the south side of the road. And that will not be filled in if that's the one that's being referred to. In terms of other ditches, no, none of the ditches should be getting filled in. We can confirm that, but based on the current design, I don't recall seeing any of those ditches being filled in.
Thank you.
Thank you, Arturo. The next question is, are there plans to do something about speeding?
The design of this project should help to reduce speeding. There's the 2 raised crosswalks that also function as speed tables. In addition, the landscaping, especially at those areas between Pomona and Flowing Wells and Tuttle to Fairview, that'll really kind of narrow up the roadway. And what we find is that when there's really wide area around a roadway, people tend to drive faster. And so, adding the additional landscaping, lighting, that sort of thing, we're hopeful that will help to slow down traffic. Other than that, we don't have additional traffic calming included in the project.
Thank you, Ryan. The next question comes from Joseph. He wants to know, how can he view the input map? Sure,
I'll show you. So if you go to the project website, and you can go there. Oh, there we go. Yeah. You can go there by going to bit.ly/Roger Road, bit.ly/Roger Road, and Monica, if you could maybe drop that in the chat. If you scroll down, there's a summary of information about the project. There's a map showing where the project is located, and then there's buttons for the survey and then the interactive map. So if you click on the link for the map, that will bring up the map, and it does take a few seconds to load, but that'll come up, and then you can view it. You can see what other people have commented on, and you can add your own comments.
Those are all the questions up until now. As a reminder for the folks who are joining us on the phone, you can click #6 and we will be able to hear you and take your questions as well.
And for anybody who may have shown up late, who has any questions, or anybody who's still here who has any additional questions, we will be here until 7 o'clock. The event does go from 6 to 7.
We got some comments, Ryan. I'm gonna share them with the public. It says, "Hi there, this is Evren with Living Streets Alliance. I wasn't able to log in with my name. Here's the link to the 2014 Walkability Assessment that was done with the Westwood Village subdivision." And Evren shares the link. So thank you very much for that, Evren.
That's great. Thank you, Evren. Appreciate it. And thanks for coming to the town hall.
We got a new comment. "It's a tight squeeze at Roger and Pomona north side because of the water site. How will the north sidewalk be arranged to cross Pomona?"
Let me pull up the map at that location and see what it looks like. So yeah, it is pretty tight. You can see there, there is the well site there, but there will be an ADA accessible crossing there, and then right as you cross from east to west, go south to sort of get around that area.
Yeah, and just to add on to what you're saying, Ryan, although it is tight, there is adequate space to fit in a sidewalk. Additionally, the well site does have some some pipes to discharge flow out of that site. Yes, exactly where you're circling there, which we're using a feature within the sidewalk to accommodate that runoff when that does occur, so that it's not directly flowing over top the sidewalk. So although it is tight, we do have the space to fit in the pedestrian improvements.
Thank you, Arturo and Ryan. We got another question from Maureen. She wants to know lighting for Reno Roger intersection, very dark at night.
Yes, so this project will include continuous street lighting, similar to what you'll see on other projects where you've got full-size street lights at spaced at regular intervals, all the way the full 1.5 miles of the project from Romero to Oracle. In addition, there will be a few locations where we'll have supplemental pedestrian lighting as well, and so that'll mainly be in these these sort of wider areas between Pomona and Flowing Wells, and then between Tuttle and Fairview. But yeah, the design is intended to provide to go above the minimum standard for lighting requirements.
Thank you, Ryan. The next question is the following: what is the space between the improvement and that white line?
A white line.
I'm assuming, Ryan, that they're referring to the edge of pavement. That's on the north side. You can kind of see a white line.
Oh, like
that's the only thing that I could assume.
Yeah, I don't know exactly. So by and large, the project is staying within the existing unpaved areas. However far apart that sort of dirt area that's there now is from the striping that'll remain the same. So hopefully that answers your question. If not, please submit another one, and I apologize if I didn't quite answer that.
Can you repeat that, Ryan, just so I get it right, so I can write it down?
Oh, sure. So most of the improvements are going to be within the existing unpaved areas. So, for example, here right now that this area is dirt, and so we'll be adding the landscaping and the sidewalks and other improvements in that area. We're not going into the existing paved asphalt area. There are a few exceptions, but they're pretty minor. But as far as the distance from the improvements that are part of the project from the white line, they're the same as you would see now from the dirt to the white line.
So, for example, here.
We got confirmation from the person who commented that that was their question. So
Great.
Good to know. Thank you. We have a new question Is there room for parking in that interstitial space?
So are you referring to like the frontage road? If it's referring to like the frontage road between the, the homes on the north side and this area here, there's currently parallel parking available on the curb on the north side that will remain. I don't believe that parking on both sides will be allowed. Arturo, feel free to jump in if you can add to that.
There's not much more I could add, Ryan.
Okay.
How much will this impair traffic during the project?
Thank you for that question. So that's something that as we get after the design is finished and we get a construction firm on board, we'll better be able to answer that. So as of now, we don't have a construction plan. That's something that would be figured out early next year once the design is finished. So that's something that we'll be reaching out again. We'll be sending out emails, sending out mailers. And giving people an opportunity to learn about how that process is going to go. So once we get closer to construction, you'll have an opportunity to talk to us and the construction firm about how all that's going to go.
And I would like to add, we do aim to minimize the impact from a traffic perspective. So we would aim to, of course, keep this stretch of road open, and should there be any necessary areas where there'd be a closure, it would be very short term and adequate notice would be provided.
The reason I'm asking is because this is the stretch of road that I travel. My in-laws live right there at Pomona and Roger, off of Knox, and I travel this road to take my kids to school every day and that kind of thing because I live at Oracle and Roger. So my kids go to Flowing Wells High School and Flowing Wells Junior High, so I'm up and down this road 2 and 3 times a day. So it's going to impact our traffic and having to get to and from the 2 schools to get my children. So I'm trying to figure out, accessibility here and what we're going to have to do to make that work, especially with roof rock closed.
So that's a very valid point that you're making. Obviously, as Ryan pointed out, as we get closer to construction, we'll have a better idea of that. But do keep in mind that the large majority of improvements here are outside the pavement. So with that in mind, it should minimize the impacts to the actual traveling public.
Okay. That was my concern, just overall is, and I kind of thought that would be the way it would go. Probably just the biggest portion of the slowdown would be probably when they go to put down sidewalks and that kind of thing and getting those in and bringing in the trees and whatnot, to get those in. And the poles for the lighting. That's when it's going to slow down traffic for the most part. But pretty much everything else is going to be smooth sailing, I think. But I'd like to say thank you because this looks great and it's going to be great when you finish. I think it's very well needed for this area, and being in the area and living in the area, thank you. Hallelujah. Very well needed.
I'm glad you're looking forward to it.
Thank you, Ryan and Arturo. Our next question is there going to be sidewalk improvement between Fairview and Oracle?
Yes, the design will include complete sidewalks on both sides of Roger between for the entire project width, so from Romero to Oracle. So that includes from Fairview to Oracle.
Great. The next question is, how will this project impact commercial truck parking at Roger and Fairview in front of the Quick Mart?
So is that referring to parking that happens in this area, or if it's in the roadway or if it's in the parking lot, it shouldn't have a significant impact. If there are vehicles that are parking in the dirt here, they'll need to park on the street or park in a parking lot.
Great answer, thank you. And that's all the questions we have for the moment. We just got a question. It says, where will the new seat wall be? I think that's what they meant. If not, please let me know.
Let's see if we can zoom out a little bit. So there's a couple of them. So there's one near Palm Grove here. You can see on the left side of the screen. Oh, it's a little too far. So you can see there's one here near Palm Grove. It's a little hard to see here, but it's these little blue circles here. So they'll be kind of like cylindrical concrete blocks of varying heights. So there'll be one of those here near Palm Grove, and then there'll be one near Fairview as well over here. I think that's the extent of it. We've got some additional seating in the form of benches in other locations.
Well, Ryan, also in the dirt area near Pomona, there'll be also additional seating, if I recall correctly, in that area as well.
I believe those are benches, but let me double check. Could be wrong. So we got a bench here near Pomona. We got another bench kind of in the middle here. And then we've got another bench here near Sioux Avenue. Oh, I think I understand. I think the question about the parking, it was saying it was asking about parking where the seat wall is shown. And if you want to confirm that, please let me know. So yeah, so if there's parking being used, I mean, if this area is being used for parking, then any vehicles that are parking in this area will need to park on the pavement or on private property.
Thank you, Ryan. The next question is the following. The preschool at Palm Grove uses the street edge for parking in the morning. How will the sidewalks be placed to allow that parking?
I am afraid I am not familiar with the preschool. Is it on this corner here? Is it the southeast corner?
Yes, that's the corner. That's the corner.
So if people are parking on the edge of the street along Roger now, you know, there's going to be sidewalk and landscaping in that area, so they'll probably need to park along Palm Grove in that case.
Did you say they will have to park on Palm Grove?
Yeah, so any parking that's currently happening, on Roger Road or off the side of Roger Road, now will need to be located elsewhere after this project is completed.
Great, thank you.
So just a reminder, we're here until 7 o'clock. So anybody who's showed up late has any questions, anybody who's still got any other questions, please feel free to submit those.
We have a comment here, Ryan and Arturo. Palm Grove is already jammed each day.
So we can go out and make an observation there and see how we can try to accommodate that. That's not an issue that has been raised to us previously. So I'm afraid I don't have a good answer offhand for that. But we will take that comment under consideration when we're looking at the revisions to the plans.
Thank you, Ryan.
Ryan, have all the businesses been notified up and down Roger about this?
They have. They've all, at the very least, received mailed information about the project. Same as other property owners.
Okay.
So yes, and we've mailed them all notices about the project, both last year when we did the first round of outreach and then in the last week or two.
I was just curious because my in-laws had not received information and they live further down on the project than I do, and they had not received anything, and I told them about the meeting tonight. So I didn't know how much information has actually gotten out to places, and or even if they even pay attention to it, even if it does get out, you know what I mean? So I don't know if maybe they're not paying attention for them not to even be here tonight to see what's going on. Because evidently there's not a lot of people here.
Well, just to tag on to what Ryan has indicated, we've actually heard from some businesses along the stretch. So we do know some who have received the mailing and then contacted us back to notify us of certain information pertaining to their property. So hopefully all have gotten something, but we do at least know that we're getting some correspondence from some of the businesses.
I just know a few that come from down through there that, they use that stretch, and like I can think of one that has trucks that park on the side there to make their deliveries, and it's just kind of, okay, how are they going to do this now kind of thing, because the big trucks can't get into their lot to make their deliveries. It's going to be on the street and they're going to block traffic.
Yeah, that's not an issue that I'm aware of that has been raised previously. If they're located in the areas where there's a frontage road, they can certainly use that area. I know the one especially near between Fairview and Tuttle is pretty wide. But yeah, that's something we may want to do some additional outreach and just ensure that they're aware of what's going on.
One that I'm thinking of is like right there at Roger and Fairview, but it is east of Fairview.
Okay.
They use that quite a bit right there off to the side. Not the Amphi area, but there's that business just past it.
On the south side or the north side?
The south side.
So the Precision Toyota?
Toyota does, and I think that there's that parts place.
Well, sorry, the which place?
There's a auto part.
Oh,
Are you talking about Merle's? Further east?
They all get. I've seen delivery trucks there, where they have big trucks there, and they usually park on the side of the road.
mhm.
Quite often coming through there. Yeah, right in that area right there.
Mhm.
I just bring it up because this is what I see as I'm driving through, and what I see where I see people, see the big trucks parked.
Yeah. Well, thank you for. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say thank you for bringing that to our attention. That's something that we'll want to reach out to those businesses and ensure that that they're aware of what the plans are, so we can make sure that they have a solution to that.
Yeah, I just that way, when this goes into fruition, okay, we didn't know about this. Well, yeah, the plans went out a year ago. It's gonna happen. Here you go, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, well, we don't want anybody to be unpleasantly surprised by the project.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
So we'll figure out how best to reach out to the businesses along there.
I mean, if we weren't in the situation we were in today, I would I'd volunteer to help canvass, but we're in a rough time right now, so yeah, we can't just do that right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a little difficult to do person-to-person outreach at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I'd usually be the one that would say, "Hey, I'll go knock on doors for you. I'll go, make sure these people know." But yeah, not today.
All right. Thank you for your comments.
No problem. Thank you.
We have some other comments here. Two of them are regarding drainage issues. One of them on Silverado, in front of the Silverado plumbing business, and another one on the corner of Roger and Tuttle. They're both saying that they get puddles and that they flood frequently.
So yeah, I think that's the same location. I think that's where Silverado is located at Roger and Tuttle here. Arturo, are you familiar with the drainage situation at that location? If there's anything that we're able to address there?
Well, what I will say is that the project is not adversely impacting the drainage patterns. So as a result, there's minimal drainage improvements associated with this project. As you kind of pointed out at the irrigation district site, we're adding we're adding a scupper there, and we got another sidewalk scupper at a different location. And for those of you who aren't aware what a scupper it just allows the runoff to flow underneath, in this case, the sidewalk. But at this particular location, there's currently not any proposed drainage improvements, but it has to do with the fact that we're not adversely or changing any of the drainage patterns as a whole to the project, and more specifically to this area.
Great, thanks, Arturo.
Thank you, Arturo. The next from Joseph. He says, please contact child parent centers regarding the traffic congestion issue. for the Head Start preschool on the southeast corner of Roger and Palm Grove. They need to be aware of these proposed changes so they can inform their clients.
Yeah, thank you for that comment. We'll make a note of that, and we will make sure to reach out to them.
The next comment is, someone says that it also floods in front of the Comanche Wells mobile. I think that will be part of the sidewalk.
Yeah, so I think, let's see. Let me pull up that location here. So
I do also think it's worth adding, Ryan, that there was a drainage memo or a drainage study that was completed as part of the analysis for this project. And so as part of that drainage analysis, that's how they were able to verify that the improvements will not be causing an increase or changing the overall drainage patterns as a result of it. So any existing issues that may exist, they're not necessarily being accommodated with any particular improvements associated with this project. We can just say that this project is not adversely impacting the current patterns.
thanks, Arturo. Yeah, I'm afraid I don't offhand I don't know the exact location of Comanche Wells, but yeah, you know, at the very least, like what Arturo said is this project won't be adversely impacting drainage, but it's also not within the scope of this project to address every one of the drainage issues along this corridor.
Thank you, Arturo and Ryan. The next question is, can you describe the green infrastructure in the program again?
Sure. So this project will include quite a few areas where there is water harvesting basins. So areas where stormwater runoff will be captured in order to provide water for the trees and other plantings. There's some areas where that's not feasible, and those will be irrigated. But wherever possible, we've incorporated green infrastructure so that we can so that we can capture that water and make use of it, reduce flooding, and provide water for the landscaping.
We got a comment here. Maureen says, it's bad. I believe the walkability will still be impacted in that spot when it rains.
We'll talk with our designer to see if they determine anything at that particular location. However, as Ryan has pointed out, the main intent of this project in terms of a drainage standpoint is just to make sure we're not increasing or are adversely impacting the drainage aspects. We have verified that we are meeting our current drainage criteria in all locations along this stretch of project. But we will go back and have that separate discussion with our designer at that specific location to see if they have any additional information about it.
Thanks, Arturo. So it's a little after 7 o'clock right now. If there are any last questions, we can answer those. Otherwise, you are welcome to visit the project website or contact me by email or by phone. So we can wait here for just another little bit here, and then I think we'll wrap up. So thank you, everybody. I just want to thank you all for coming and having interest in the project and helping us to understand some of the challenges in the area. And if you have any other additional questions or comments, as I mentioned, please feel free to get in touch with me. And I hope you all have a good night.
We just got one last comment, one last question. It's how much is the engineering cost estimate, and are any contractors interested in this project?
So yeah, we're not at the stage where we have been working with any contractors yet. That's a few months out after the design is finished. I believe the engineering cost estimate for construction, and Arturo, please correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's a little bit over. It's between $2 and $2.5 million.
Yes, you're correct, Ryan. We're just above $2 million currently, but since it's not fully finalized, obviously that still will change a bit, but that is the rough range we are currently at.
All right. Well, with that, I think we'll wrap up. Thank you all for coming, and feel free to reach out to myself if you have any additional questions. And have a good night.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thank you, Monica, and thank you, Arturo.
Answering our questions. Have a good night. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.